Life only begins once a man realizes he can forgive and accept who he once was in the past. He can kill his old self, right? It says in the Bible to pick up your cross and kill your old self. Follow God and His journey for you. And a lot of men, this go for women as well. Not man. When I say man, it's both women and guys. But a lot of people, when they're in their walks with God, is they don't accept or forgive who they once were, and so they continually have that in the back of their mind, right? Let's say they're trying to stop being a sinful person. Let's say they're trying to stop being lustful, but in their past they used to be really lustful. They used to have sex all the time. They used to do all these things, and so they condemn themselves. They're like, oh, I can never be, a purely holy person since I have all these things, and it makes them continually stay in that state of mind of being lustful, of being in that old person, and being in that old state of mind. That's what puts people in that hole of like, God can't forgive me. Will never forgive me for what I've done. And I want everyone to know that, like, no matter where in life you are, no matter how bad of things you've done, God has already forgiven you. All you got to do is turn to Him and surrender. All right? And most important thing of why I say that once man does this, they can truly start living their life, is because God has a plan for each and every single one of us. And as long as we stop getting in our own way of that, then we can live the life we're meant to live. We can have the things we want, all right? God placed those desires, those visions inside of you in order for you to fulfill those things. That's how I like to believe, all right? And you don't have to believe the same thing. You can maybe you don't want to have a desires at all. You just want to be fully committed to God, which is fine. But God has sent each and every single one of us to fulfill a purpose. And if your purpose is living the life of your dreams and changing people's lives in the meantime, in the same time, then go for it. A big reason why I like to emphasize forgiveness and acceptance, because once you do those things, it's a choice. Once you make that choice, it's no longer you're no longer going to be listening to that voice inside of your head saying that you're a bad person, that all those past experiences. Because whenever we do have that voice in our head, which is from the ego, it's from the enemy inside of us, pretty much, right? I'll get into that in another video, but just think of that voice in our head spewing out negativity, bringing that guilt, bringing that shame. It's the enemy. The enemy is inside of our head telling us the things that we secretly want to hear, all right? We secretly do love to condemn ourselves. We secretly do love to feel sorrow and victimize ourselves, which causes us to stray away from God. But if we accept and forgive who we once were, then all those victimizations, all those sorrowful feelings will go away, because you no longer associate as that person. That person's in the past. You're moving on to who God has you, who God wants you to be, who you want to be. It stops making you in that cycle. You stop living in that cycle is what I'm trying to say. And you might be wondering, like, how can I secretly like to feel victimized? Like, how can I secretly like to victimize myself? One prime example is, like, people like to feel bad. They're like, well, if it wasn't for this, then maybe my life would be a little better. Or if I was born in a rich family, then maybe I'd be a lot more rich. Or maybe if my parents were religious, then I'd be a lot more religious. If I had more friends that were centered by God, then maybe I'd be centered by God. But they always point fingers on outside objects, causing them to live a life that they don't want to live, Maybe you haven't realized you've said those stories before. Maybe you haven't realized you've said those things to yourself before. But I need you to understand, that's what keeps you in that same sort of gutter that's been holding you back from getting closer to God, from getting closer to your goals. Those small little payoffs making you live in that old story, live in those past experiences, to make those things become a little bit more true. All right? Our beliefs based off our past experiences only become true again because we believe that those past experiences are true. If we literally just cut off those past experiences, cut off those old programs of us being a bad person or all those mistakes we made, and learn from them, and believe that we're the opposite now. If we were someone who was unfocused before, now we're someone who's focused. If we were someone who was sinful before, now we're someone who's not sinful. We're holy, I think that's what they say. All those things. And if you start putting your attention towards this new story, then you'll start producing results that reflect this story. And those old stories, those old programs will start becoming just a little bit more quieter. But you've been living in those programs your whole life, so you have to understand, accepting and forgiving yourself is step one. But step two is stepping into that version of yourself that you desire to be, and stepping into the version that God has you. Those two are pretty much the same thing. Stepping into the version of yourself that God has you to be, your purpose. And stop believing those negative thoughts, those negative feelings, those negative programs that the enemy's trying to make you live in. That's when you can live life. That's when you can enjoy who you are, what you have, and every parts of life, your journey. There'll be no more negativity, to a sense. Of course, there's obviously, you're going to get tempted, you're going to get tested, you're going to get tempted. It's not just going to go away overnight. It's something I've been working on for over a year now. I've been letting go of this old story. I've been letting go of these old programs for, about a year. And I'm still uncovering new things. I'm still learning that I don't value truly who I am. I don't value my self-worth. I don't appreciate who I am sometimes. And it reflects. And so, you have to be really honest with yourself. You have to be willing to accept and face those demons you've been running away from your whole life. But once you do, you can live the life of peace, of freedom, the desired life you thought you wanted with money, traveling the world, girls, etc. You can live that life now. You can, and then of course build up to having the money, having the business. Maybe not as much girls, but living life. It's the life you desire. I hope this video helped. I know I was a little bit all over the place, but if you get the main message, I really hope you do. It helped me and changed my life, because now it's just this game that I'm playing every single day. It's just letting go of my old story and believing in the new story that I want to believe. That God has sent me here to believe. That story. Because why believe in a story that's holding me back? Why believe in a story that has so much limitations? Believe that story that you are unlimited. Believe that you can do and say, you can do anything you want. You put your mind to. Finally, I can talk. Yeah, hope this helped, guys. God bless, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. My uploads have been pretty slacking. I need to lock in. I locked in. I'm done. It's already done.